Hello, everyone. This is Deaquilin, and welcome to our monthly Slay Live. I am so excited about today's class. You may hear the babies in the background. They are here visiting for a couple of weeks, and so I'm determined to continue with this class. So if you hear them crying, if you hear them making noise, just know that I am a yaya. Okay. So with that, I want to talk about this week. This month, our topic that we're going to talk about is forgiveness. And when I thought about the classes that I want to teach you here in Slay, I don't want it to always be about just accomplishing your dreams and goals or anything like that. I also want it to be about how to deal with just things in life. And I believe that one of the biggest things that we all need in life, especially at a young age and growing into adults, is the forgiveness factor, and learning how to forgive and knowing how to forgive, and also knowing that forgiveness helps you, and it helps free you from the stronghold that it can have in your life. And so I wanted to put this lesson out here, and I want you to go back and watch this lesson as often as possible. I know we have some moms who are here with their daughters who watch the classes as well. And so this is just a topic that you're going to need for your entire life, regardless of where you are in life. Again, whether you're young, you have to forgive your friends when your friends do or say something. You have to, when you grow older, forgive your boyfriends. Also, forgive your parents. Forgive, just people that may do or say something to hurt you. The biggest thing that I want you to take from today's message is that forgiveness is for you. Okay, and I don't want you to think about it as that you have to forgive people for their sake. It's all about you and you being well in your emotions, you being having a heart that will be open to receive everything that God has for you to receive in your life. And so when you forgive people, it really opens your mind, it opens your heart, and it puts you in a position of receiving. And so I'm going to really get into that in just a moment. But like I said before, you're never, ever, ever, ever too young to learn about forgiveness. And if there's one lesson that you can take with you throughout life, I believe that the forgiveness lesson is possible. I remember a few months ago discovering that, I used to always pray for world peace, world peace, world peace. And I had a mentor who asked me one day, is that even possible? And I don't think that it's not possible, but what I do realize that world peace comes through world forgiveness. So my prayer for the world now is forgiveness, and that people learn to forgive, that people will open their hearts to forgive. And so over the years, I've encountered a lot of women and even a lot of young people who have emotional issues, who are emotionally broken, and they are dealing with things that happened to them. Guess when they were girls, when they were your age. And so because they are still dealing with things that happened when they were your age, what I always try to guide them and lead them to is forgiveness, like going back to whatever happened to you when you were a little girl, when you were a teenager, whoever hurt your feelings, whoever offended you, whoever said or did anything to you, then go back and forgive. And that way you can change your life, and in the present moment alter what your future is going to look like. So for a very long time, I personally held on to unforgiveness, especially with my father, because my dad, when my parents divorced when I was 2, and then my dad wasn't in my life for a very long time. Well, he was sporadically, I'm gonna say it that way. He was sporadically in my life, and there were certain things that happened. If I don't want to go into detail, but there were certain things that happened where I know directly that I was being rejected by my father. And so as I got older and I developed a relationship with him, I realized that there were just certain things that he either didn't know or certain things that he was just afraid of. And so because of that, that fear was well, I guess you could say I was in line of that fear. And so the things that he didn't do it directly to me, but it directly affected me. And because of that, I had so much unforgiveness in my heart towards my dad that I grew up and I got married to someone who I thought was a daddy figure and all of this, and ended up getting divorced. And it wasn't until I healed my relationship with my dad through forgiveness that I really just began to really start this forgiveness journey and see things for what they really are. I said that to say that even as you're a little girl, the things that happen in your life, whether it's with your parents, with your friends, you know, sometimes you get bullied and people may say something, you know, they may say something so crazy to you or about you. And then you hold on to that unforgiveness in your heart and you carry that when you're older. What you don't understand is that even though it's an emotional issue, even though when someone says something to you and you don't forgive them, it's an emotional issue, it ends up affecting your body. You have illnesses, you have diseases in your body that you create if you hold on to unforgiveness for a very long time. Let's liken it to, let's say this is your heart, okay? This is your heart, and this is, you know, where things enter in and out of your heart. So let's say that you are, you know, going on in life and then someone does something to you. And then let's say that whatever they do to you, then it means that it plants something in your heart. Okay. It plants a seed in your heart. So that seed in your heart happens. So once that seed happens, what will happen is if you don't deal with that seed properly, what will happen is that seed will grow and grow and grow and grow and grow into something that you're not willing and able to deal with, or you deal with it, but it just takes so much longer to resolve and so much longer to work through all the things that happen in your life. So you have to understand that forgiveness is important, but more than anything, it's for you. It's to free and open your heart. So when people do things and when people say things to you, then you have a choice. The choice is, I'm going to let this stay in my heart, or I'm going to clear my heart, have a clear heart, and forgive. And so you don't have to be broken. You don't have to be angry. You don't have to be hurt by anything that people say. And you can start now. And to start now, you have to, number one, know about forgiveness. And you also have to, two, start forgiving. And that's what I want to talk to you about today in this class. So the first thing that I want to talk about is, what is forgiveness? What is forgiveness? Forgiveness is choosing not to hurt or get back at somebody for doing something to hurt you. So it's choosing that I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to get back at you. But forgiveness is also letting go of whatever it is that they did to hurt your feelings, or whatever offense you feel in your heart that they did towards you. Now, notice I said the offense that you feel in your heart, because whatever you feel in your heart is what's most important. It's more important what you feel in your heart than the thing that someone said or did to hurt you. Okay? Because the thing that they did and said to hurt you, they're not doing it and saying it now. They did it in the past. And so here you are. Someone said something bad about you at school. Okay? So now you're at home, but your feelings are hurt now, even though that happened at school a few hours ago. So even if it happened at school a few hours ago, you're still feeling the hurt of it. And so forgiveness is not retaliating, not getting back at them, but also letting go of that feeling that you have in your heart. Okay? I hope this makes sense. So it is important that you forgive people so that you can clear that feeling out of your heart. Once you clear that feeling out of your heart, you're free. And I always like to do this demonstration. And if you can imagine that I'm holding on to prison bars, and I'm looking at every person that hurt me, and I'm saying, yep, you talked about me the other day, girl, and I don't like you anymore. Or, my dad is not in my life, and I feel bad, and I feel I can't stand him, and I really hate him, and all this other stuff. So you're looking at people and you're looking at situations through these bars, thinking that you have them in prison or in jail, but really it's you that's in jail because you're holding on to the thing that they did, and they're not doing it anymore. They're not offending you anymore. You're holding on to it because that's what you feel in your heart. So the key is to let go, and to be free. So that's what forgiveness is choosing not to hurt someone or get back at them for hurting you, but it's also letting go of that feeling that you have whenever you hear their name or whenever you think about what they did, and that feeling that you get in your heart starts beating, or your heart starts hurting, and maybe your gut feeling, your stomach starts hurting, and you just feel uncomfortable and uneasy. It's letting all of that go. So that's what forgiveness is. Now let me tell you what forgiveness is not, because so many people, and I've seen grown women and young girls think that forgiveness means that you tell a person that it means that you're telling a person that it's okay to hurt you. It's never okay for a person to hurt you, a person to offend you, a person to gossip about you or talk about you or call you out of your name or anything like that. It's never okay. So when you forgive, you're not telling them that it's okay that you said that about me, or it's okay that you did that to me. It's okay that you rejected me. That's not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is not saying that it is okay. All right? Because it is not okay. The other thing that forgiveness is not making up and becoming friends with the person who hurt you. But sometimes that can happen. So let's say you and your best friend have a disagreement, or you have a you have a few words with each other or whatever. You can forgive your best friend and y'all can still continue in your relationship, but that doesn't always have to happen, especially the dealing with the person that we're talking about. So let me use the example with my dad. For, like I said, a long time, I had no forgiveness in my heart towards him. I blamed him for a lot of things that happened in my life. I felt rejected by him. I felt like he didn't love me. He didn't care. I felt like he could have done better. He could have done more for me while my parents had divorced, and he didn't. And so for me, I didn't want to have a relationship with my dad at all. I didn't want to have anything to do with him. But God gave me some instructions, and he told me that I needed to reach out to my dad. And so when I started reaching out to my dad, what happened in that is we developed a relationship and we grew closer. But that's because that was my father, that was my dad. There may be people in your life, like maybe you have an associate. An associate is a type of person who you know, but they're not a friend, but maybe you talk to them or you maybe hang out with them sometimes, but they're not a friend, like a best friend. So maybe you have an associate at school who has done or said something to you. You don't have to be, once you forgive, once you let go of the hurt that you have in your heart, once you release that, you don't have to be friends with that person. You don't have to even be associates with that person anymore. So it really depends on the relationship and the type of relationship that you have with that person, whether you can reconnect or continue to just let it go and not have anything to do with them. So I just want you to understand that forgiveness is not making up or becoming friends with the person who hurt you. Also, forgiveness is not dismissing your feelings, dismissing the fact that they hurt you. Okay, because a lot of people think that if I forgive, that means that I'm saying that it's okay that you hurt me. I'm also dismissing or ignoring the fact that you hurt me. And so, no, you have to understand that that is not what forgiveness is. And the best way to get over it, get over anything that someone has done to you that hurt you, is really to forgive. So let's get into who you forgive. rule of thumb, you forgive everybody. Okay, you forgive everybody. You forgive anyone who has done something to offend you or hurt you in any way, whether it's a friend, whether it's your brother or sister, whether it's your parents, whether it's maybe your step parents, whether it is, maybe a teacher at school says something to you, or whatever. Maybe your gym teacher did or said something to you. Whatever, whoever does something to you, and you get that feeling in your heart that doesn't feel right, and you feel uncomfortable, then that's when you say, okay, wait, this is an opportunity for me to forgive and free myself of feeling this way in my heart. Okay, so you forgive everybody, and also forgive them whether they know they hurt you or not. That's the key, because some people, they just act or say whatever they want to say, and they don't realize that you decided in your heart and in your mind to hurt me. So it is forgiving someone even when they don't know that they hurt you. Not everybody would know that they hurt you. Not everybody would know that they offended you or did anything. Jesus, when he was hanging on the cross, he said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. In other words, Father, forgive them because they don't know what they're doing to me. And so we have to have that same mentality that I'm forgiving, even though I know you don't know that you hurt me. I'm going to forgive you anyway. Okay. Also, you have to forgive whether they apologize or not, because if they don't know that they hurt you, number one, they're not going to apologize. They're not even going to acknowledge that they hurt you because they don't know that they hurt you. But you don't need an apology to forgive. I have to say that one more time. You don't need an apology to forgive anybody, okay? So if someone hurts you, if your best friend says something to you and you're expecting an apology to forgive, you don't need that, because remember, forgiveness is, let's use your heart as a box, okay? I'm going to draw this out. Let me get I think I'm going to use a marker. Yes. Trying to see if I have some more paper. So this your heart, right? And say your best friend says something like, you're ugly. So I'm going to say best friend, I'm going to call it BF. Your best friend says something and it hurts you. So it goes into your heart. Okay? And let's say your brother says that, let's say your brother hit you because you went into his room and you're hurt by that because you went into his space and he hit you. So then you got that in your heart. Let's say maybe your father or mother has done something. So I'm just going to say parent has done something. Maybe you taking it in your heart. And I'm talking about what's going in your heart and it hurts you. And so before you know it, if you don't forgive, you're going to have all of these things in your heart. Your heart is not going to be clear. The goal is for your heart to be clear, okay? The goal is for your heart to be clear. So all of this stuff, when someone says something to you and offends you, it comes into your heart. And your responsibility is to let it go so that your heart can be clear. Okay? So this is your goal. This is your goal, to have a clear heart. And the only way you can have a clear heart, a free heart, is through forgiveness. You can only do this by letting go of the offense and choosing not to retaliate, but also clearing your heart by really, it's almost like you want to, this is going to sound really, really weird, but it's almost like, how you have a dry erase board and you put something on the board and then you erase it off. It's almost like you want to erase off whatever they did to hurt you. Okay. And it's not for them. but it's for you. Because when your heart is clear, when your heart is free, then you don't have to deal with all of this stuff anymore. You don't have to walk around feeling icky on the inside because someone hurt you. When you forgive and when you let it go, your heart is free and you can walk around being happy and full of joy and full of life and full of love, because that's what's important. Okay? So now I want to get into why is forgiveness important? Forgiveness is important because it frees your heart. It clears your heart. That's why forgiveness is important. Not only that, but when you don't forgive people, like when you don't forgive people, it is like you choose to put your heart in jail, or it's like you choose to keep all of this stuff in your heart, all of this junk. It's like you, instead of saying, you know, when you don't forgive people, you're saying to yourself, I like all this junk in my heart. I want it in there. Who wants a junky heart? Who wants a heart full of anger and bitterness and jealousy and all of the stuff that you get when you don't forgive? Forgiveness has been one of the biggest lessons in my life, because not only have I forgiven people, but I've also forgiven myself. And I want to talk about that in just a moment. But another reason why forgiveness is important is because, like I said before, I just believe that the world needs more forgiveness. We need more forgiveness in our hearts altogether. Not only that, but through forgiveness, you show God, you show yourself, and you also show others that you choose your own freedom, that you're choosing to keep your heart clear, that you're choosing to keep your heart free from all of the junk and all of the clutter that those offenses can bring into your life, okay? And then also through forgiveness, you lead others in their own journey of forgiveness. So my perfect example of this is I've learned to forgive. And now here I am guiding you and teaching you the importance of forgiveness, okay? In the same way that you can teach someone else. Or let's say you and your best friend have a really bad fight, and you're angry with each other, and maybe, you know, you're not speaking to her and she's not speaking to you, and then you let it go and you say, you know what, I forgive, I'm free. And maybe your best friend needs you to forgive her so that she can forgive you. Not that we need a person to forgive us to forgive them, but maybe in your relationship, that's what it took or takes in order for both of you to be free. So your forgiveness is not just for you, but it's also for sometimes the other person. When they see that you forgive and you let it go, that they can forgive and let it go. And here's the thing: the Bible says that when we forgive others, it says, forgive and you will be forgiven. Okay, so I want you to write those words down. Forgive and you will be forgiven. I'm gonna forgive, and then I just want you to write forgiven. Write those two words down if you have a piece of paper. Forgive and forgiven. I want you to underline give, and I want you to underline giving. Okay? The Bible says, forgive and you will be forgiven. But the next sentence behind that says, forgive, what you give, you will be given. Okay? What you give, you will be given. So when you start forgiving people, let's say you're the person that offends someone, then it'll be easier for someone to forgive you because you're forgiving other people. So it's a cycle that you create too in your life, that I forgive, and if I offend someone, then I am forgiven. Whether it's that person that you offend forgive you, or whether someone else forgives you for an offense, but it will be given back to you. Okay, and that's a life principle. I want you to understand that is for life. For life, for anything. If you give, you will be given. If you give money, you will be given money. If you give time, you will be given time. If you give helpful homework, you will be given helpful homework. That's just a principle and a law that is in our lives and for our lives. Also, another reason forgiveness is important is because it's important that we also, I talked about forgiving ourselves. We have to forgive ourselves and let ourselves go. And what I mean by let yourself go is forgive yourself for holding all of this stuff in your heart, okay? Holding all of this stuff in your heart. When you hold all of this stuff in your heart, that's your decision. Even though, yes, your best friend hurt you, even though, yes, your brother hurt you, even though, yes, your parent says something or your teacher says something, or, you know, you feel a certain way because somebody did something that you decided that hurt you, you made the decision to hold all of this stuff in your heart. So as you're becoming clear, as your goal is to have a clear heart, you have to forgive yourself for letting all of this be in there in the first place. Okay? So that's why forgiveness is important. I want to just really say that I know that this class is different from any classes that I've taught before here in this setting. But what I want you to understand is that my goal for Slay is to be as real as possible, to talk about real issues. And the real issue is people hurt us. People hurt us. The real issue is that life won't always be roses and fun and things like that. And I'm not telling you this because I want you to be afraid of growing up. I want you to be afraid of having encounters with people or anything like that. I'm teaching you this to prepare your heart now so that when something happens, that you have in your mind, Miss D said, Miss D taught me about forgiveness, and I need to clear my heart. I need to have a clear heart. And I'm not going to allow what this person did or what this person said to put that junk in my heart. I'm going to forgive and let it go and open my heart again. In my sessions that I have, my live sessions that I have with girls, we talk about mother issues, because there are some girls who have so many grievances or heartbreaks towards their mothers because their mothers maybe has a boyfriend in the home that they don't like, and that, you know, they feel like it's their mother's fault. I've dealt with girls whose mothers were abusive, whose mothers abandoned them, so they have mother issues. I've also dealt with girls that had father issues. Their father wasn't active in their lives. Their father had new family that he took better care of than them. And so all of this is so important that as you're young, especially because you're young, that you deal with them now and you forgive now, as opposed to carrying all of these issues into your adulthood. Because we grow up into women who are hurt. We grow up into women who are broken and feel rejected and feel neglected by people, but also we feel that way about God. One of the biggest lessons that I've learned is in coaching women and teens is that how we feel about people ultimately a lot of times is how we feel about God. So we feel like our fathers rejected us, then we're going to feel like God rejects us. If we feel like our mother ignored us, then we're going to feel like God ignores us. And so it's important that you understand that, number one, people are human. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to hurt you. They're going to offend you, and that's okay. People are not defined by their mistakes, but they just make mistakes, okay? But it is your job to let go and to be free and to forgive. It is not their job to erase this stuff out of your heart. It's not your best friend's job to go back and erase this stuff out of your heart. It's not your brother, your parents, your teachers, or your other friends or whatever. It's not their job to clear your heart. This is your job. And so you have to make a decision today that, yes, this person hurt me. This person said something to hurt my feelings. This person did something. So I make a decision today that I'm going to let it go. Like I said, it doesn't mean you're going to be best friends. Doesn't mean that you're going to have a relationship with them. You're going to put yourself in a position for them to hurt you again or anything like that. But you have to let go. You have to clear your heart. When you clear your heart, what's the beauty in this is when your heart is like this, it's hard for you to receive anything good. It's hard for you to receive anything when your heart is full of brokenness. Your heart is full of bitterness, full of anger, full of issues. It's hard for you to receive anything. But when your heart is open and God drops in something, then you can receive it in your heart because it's open and it's free and it's clear. Okay, so that is our class for the month. So thank you so much. I saw one person give me some hearts, and so thank you. I think that was LaTondra that you're here. But make sure that you watch this video over and over and over and over again. Even if right now you don't understand it, I trust that as you watch this, that the words that I'm talking about, that everything that you're hearing is going to be implanted in your heart, and that you're going to one day when you encounter something and you feel hurt, that you're going to remember what's said in this video. So I pray for you. I love you. I am always here for you. So if you have someone in your life or an issue with someone and you feel like you can't forgive, then feel free to reach out to Miss D. I'm always here for you. I know that it's not an easy process to forgive, but guess what? It is the most rewarding thing that you'll ever do. And I want you to just, like I said, take this with you throughout your entire life, because it is so important that you let go and that you forgive. So know this, that you are great in Christ and you are powerful beyond measure. I love you and I'm here for you. Take care.